So hello fellow Earthlings, this is Earthling 6455463728, and wanted to remark that, they're like unicellular organisms. They don't have a brain. We have a brain. It has loads of processing power, but sometimes it's useless, isn't it? I mean, for evolutionary purposes, for reproductive purposes, I think our brain is rendered useless on purpose when it comes to sexual repercussions and looking for the immediate, your brain just shuts down. You don't think when it comes to reproduction and love and attraction and all this other stuff. But in a lot of aspects of our lives, our brain says, do X, and it's really not even the best thing for us. I mean, let's look at the stairs or the elevator. Our brain says, oh my God, the stairs is so horrible. I don't want to use the stairs. Let's use the elevator. And, that's not the best thing for you. I mean, most of us could do with a lot more exercise than we get. And yet, given the opportunity between the stairs and the elevator, we go straight to this elevator. Let's say, for example, food. When it comes to food, we go and we eat the highest calorie food that we can find because our brains have not evolved to realize or to take into account the fact that high calorie foods are really easy to find now. So maybe we need to be more judicious in how we eat. Our brains tell us that we need to move from the countryside to the city in order to get a better job so that we can earn more. But when we move, in order to get, or it tells us to go from a less developed country to a more developed country, like so many immigrants do. And when we do that, maybe we might have opportunities, maybe we might have more money, but a lot of these more developed countries, one, you're going to face a lot of people who don't like you, that discriminate against you. Two, it's going to be difficult to fit into the system. Of course, that's temporary. But three, a lot of the jobs that people get are not the best jobs. The places they get to live are not the best places. The hours that they have to work are not the best hours. They're far away from their family. And some of the things that are most important to a human being around the people that you love and interacting and being able to spend time with them, we swap out on all of that. We swap out on the most important things that we need to be happy for more money. And okay, great, we have more money and we're working more and it's colder and we're surrounded by people who might not like us and we have stress that we have to deal with. And is that worth the extra money that we get from migrating? Or we might decide that we need a car instead of using public transportation. So now we have to concentrate on driving. We might have to drive a lot further. Well, maybe it might be a lot shorter, but maybe it might be a lot further because our radius of places that we can work is a lot further now. So we can live further from the city so that we can have a longer commute, which doesn't really help our lives. I mean, we're exchanging time on the road for money in our hand, time that we could spend with our families for, there's more stress when you're driving, and all of that is for more money. But we have more money, but we can't spend it with, or we can't, I'm feeling for words, but what I mean is, let's say, for example, we decide that we want that special vacation with our family. So we're going to save up and work really hard and work a lot of overtime in order to do it. And yeah, I think that's part of what I mean, overtime, for example. So we take time away from our families, working overtime, so that we can have good vacations with them that happen to be short because we still need to work harder. So it's supposed to be a great vacation. We're going to do lots of different things, but wouldn't it have just been better spent spending a lot more higher quality, cheaper time with our family than trying to spend on this fantastic vacation that might just be for a couple of days because we can't take that time off of work? I mean, we're animals, and as animals, most of our happiness is going to stem from how much time we spend with friends and family. And, for hunter-gatherers, that would have been your whole existence, would have been that. Spending time with friends and family. We evolved to do that. And yet our brain has produced this society and the rat race and everything else that makes us want to be doctors and lawyers, people who often spend inordinate amounts of time highly stressed to earn high wages that can be spent on material possessions that don't actually make us happy. I mean, is that what our brain is for? To get all these things that don't make us happy? When we were, at least as hunter-gatherers, happier? It's kind of interesting that almost everything that we want, like drinking seems like a really great idea, except that it increases our risk of cancer, it increases our likelihood of getting into some kind of horrible accident, or even in the case of one particular person that I knew. This guy didn't drink at all. He was in the army. He was an officer. They were studying to become officers, and they became officers. And he told me he didn't drink at all because drinking, he saw what it did to other people in his family. So after about, I don't know, a couple years, I saw him again, and he was huge. I mean, all the other officers were bigger, but he was pretty big. I think he missed the point that it wasn't drinking probably that was a problem in his family. Maybe it was addiction was a problem in his family, or part of his family lifestyle, that they were very intense people who, pick something and then go all out. Because whereas, he would have grown up and seen what alcohol could do to him, and he thought, okay, not alcohol, I'm gonna not do that, and not realizing that, okay, let me not put that energy into food, because food is gonna be just as bad, between diabetes and increased risk of cancer and heart attacks and strokes and all this other stuff, whatever. I mean, maybe the emotional damage wasn't there, but there it was. Still was going to have problems trying to get away from one thing. Or just in general, let's say, for example, our brain tells us, yeah, I don't want to do exercise because exercise, it makes me sweaty, it makes me smell, all this other stuff. And we try to avoid exercise. And we end up, it's really about what you put in your mouth, how big you get. But even a thin person who doesn't exercise and eats small portions of bad food is going to have, an increased risk of a stroke. For example, if you have high cholesterol or something like that, you are more likely to have a heart attack. You're more likely to have cancer. You're more likely to have all of these other things, like, probably not going to sleep as well because of a lack of exercise. You might, have osteoporosis or something. So Our big brain has all of these wants and desires for success at the expense of our family life, for convenience at the expense of our health, for maybe to avoid falling into addiction and not realizing that we can easily fall into other forms of addiction, for even for example, a love of sex. I mean, we all love sex, but I mean, taking it to an extreme where that's really what we're after and not realizing that, whoa, we're going to have maybe a whole bunch of kids and no real connection to any of them. And the sex isn't really going to make us happier anyway. We just, it's like, what did they say? It's like eating Chinese food. As soon as you're done eating it, you feel hungry again. For example, we might not like to eat fruits or vegetables or salads or whatever, because there's no taste. But at the same time, it fills us up so that we don't gain weight on some high calorie food, and that we get the the vitamins and minerals and whatever that we need in order to stay healthy, so we don't have some kind of a nutritional imbalance. There's a lot of things that we try using our big brains to get away from, and decisions that we make. For example, again, like, we don't want to find a way to control a young kid. So we just give in to them, whatever they want when they scream. That doesn't make a kid or a person or an adult who is able to manage their feelings. They're just going to feel like, they can act out and not even feel like they can act out. That's a lesson that they've learned in life. They can act out and everybody else will fall in line. I mean, like, if you read about Steve Jobs, I don't know that the fact that he was nasty helped. One can be passionate, but obviously his parents, being adoptive parents, they gave in to a lot of stuff that he wanted to do. And he fell into that idea that the world was going to bend to him. I think he could have been just as quote-unquote amazing by being a nicer person. You just have to be passionate. I don't know. Maybe he would have been worse. Maybe he would have been an everyday person. But I don't know that we really needed an iPhone anyway. Maybe the world just needed a nicer person. Certainly his daughter needed a nicer person. Certainly his daughter's mother needed a nicer person to treat her well, and all the other people that he encountered in life. So, but anyway, big brain, and collectively keep making bad decisions. I don't know if it's worth it. Anyway, guys, wish me lucks. You can like or unlike. You can comment and say why. You can subscribe and or share. Or, of course, you can do nothing. But I'd prefer if you did one of those. Thanks. Peace.